Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. We're here for Korey, and just looking at everybody here, this is a perfect testimony and celebration of Korey's life, because he touched so many people and made a difference in so many people's lives. And I'm floored. I saw this dude overcome so much difficulty and trial and make something solid and beautiful of his life. And I'm fucking torn apart right now, and I'm gonna curse, and I'm gonna talk to Byrd right now, so trigger warning. That's right. I met Korey 11 years ago when his cousin was murdered by the Downey police, October 22nd, 2011. Thank you. First time I ever saw Korey was at Mikey's wake at Our Lady of Rosary, and I was sitting in a pew, missing my best friend, our best friend. And I see this dude standing there, this gigantic guy, skin bald, lopes on, buttoned up to the top. I found out later, okay? But at the time, I was like, who the fuck's this guy, right? He was thinking the same thing about us, right? And I remember the first time me and Korey ever did something together, it was on the front porch of Gene's house, kicking lawyers off the porch. All the bottom feeders that were coming to prey on Gene and to prey on the family, and you know, we had a security force, and that's how I got to know Korey, that Korey was a down-ass fool, right? And he might not have been the toughest guy in the world, we found out later, but I tell you what, that was the bravest motherfucker I ever met. Because you don't gotta be tough, you gotta be brave, okay? And when I first met Korey, we were both struggling with this crippling loss, right? And how the fuck are we gonna do something about this? My homie, his cousin, just got murdered by a cop, and there's no justice. We started protesting, and we started just working together. And for some reason, me and this dude just bonded, and we were complete opposites. And they used to joke all the time how we were Oscar and Felix, the odd couple, you know, because, I mean, if you know Mikey and you know me and you know my friends, you know, we smoke a lot of weed, but I'm pretty straight edged. And Korey was not. And when we met, Korey was not. And you can ask anybody in my family, okay? Like, the fact that I fell in love with this dude says a lot about who he was on the inside, because I saw through all that shit. And he saw through all my shit. And for some reason, we could trust each other with who we really were. You know? And the longer I rode with this dude, and I'm telling you, I rode with Byrd for months, day after day. He'd say, come pick me up, man. I need you to help me, man. I need you to keep my head straight. We need to go do something positive, right? And then we met Anaheim. We found a common cause, and Korey was stoked because I guess he knew a lot of people in Anaheim, apparently. And he was like, dude, I know what they're doing out there. We need to go help them. We need to go stand with them. We need to go be part of that. So me and Byrd and my little fucking Pontiac vibe, dude, just rolling, grinding every day, going out to Anaheim, trying to organize something, trying to help somebody. And then on the weekends, protesting and marching and going to city council meetings. And I'm telling you, I saw this dude find himself, okay? And when we got to Anaheim, we met my partner, Sonia, who lost her brother, and we became the three amigos, and we rolled everywhere together. And we were all struggling, and we were all on the fucking edge. I remember Korey telling me in the car one time, I ain't got a future, homie. I ain't got a future. I'm a fucking walking dead man. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? You're in a car with me. Shut the fuck up. I'm a mainline methamphetamine user, man. I got no fucking hope. I'm gonna die soon, and nothing's gonna save me. And it fucking broke my heart, man. Because this is one of the best people I ever met telling me he's got no hope, and I did not fucking believe it for 1 second. I saw right through that bullshit. Because I saw who he really was, man. I saw that fucking steel in his spine, and I saw what he was really made of, even if he didn't. And he was looking in the car across at me, and he saw what I was made of, even if I didn't. And we made each other strong. And like I said, when we found our third amigo, man, we were unstoppable. And all we did was just go around, and we realized, and I think looking around this room, I think a lot of you are going to get it too, man. You ain't going to get no fucking justice against the cops, right? So there was no fucking way anybody that we were fighting for was ever going to see their day in court, was ever going to see any kind of justice. So what we had to do was heal ourselves. We had to survive this shit. And the best way we found to do that was helping other people. And I saw Korey come to life when he had the chance to help others. When it was time to feed the homeless in Anaheim, he was the first one, and he was calling me, let's go, brother. When it was time to go to city council meetings, he was on the front defending the mothers, making sure that his big old body was in the way, so they didn't have to feel afraid. And I heard so many mothers who lost their sons tell Korey how safe they felt around him. My daughter, who chose me as her father, chose Korey as her guardian. Sonia wouldn't let nobody trust her 1-year-old daughter, right? I got to hold her. She fell in love with Korey. Her and Korey developed a bond. Korey found something else about himself that he already knew. He's a nurturer. He's a giver. All it took was someone to believe in him and show him who he really was. And he was off and running. And that dude stood up for what he believed in, right or wrong. And you know what's crazy is he seemed wrong most of the time. But guess what? He was always fucking right. And he'd take the most unpopular stand, and he'd be willing to have family, friends, close the door, turn their back on him. Years later, Korey was right. Korey was right, and Korey was classy. And you saw Korey go off. Korey go crazy, man. And I remember back in the day, man, he was like Donald Duck. That fool go ape shit when he'd lose his temper, okay? But that was just on the outside, because I never knew nobody who was more willing to admit that he was wrong, more willing to forgive somebody and make the peace, who wanted love in his family more than anything in his life. And you guys remember all his Facebook posts, man. 1 out of 5 is, man, I wish my family was tighter, man. I wish we loved each other more. I wish we all got along. And you know what? He inspired a lot of people to bury the hatchet and to squash their bullshit and to start being a family again. I have a world of respect for Korey Byrd. I can't think of 5 people in this world that I respect more than him for what he's overcome, what he was brave enough to be, his compassion. Because, when I met him, we were like competing EBT cards, bro. Like, you know what I mean? We didn't have shit. We were both on the fucking sticks, okay? And I saw that dude find a place for himself, right? He became a guard, and then he started to work his way up in the guard community. Leon, you hooked him up. You showed him what he could be. You believed in him. And you know what, man? I found another side of Korey I didn't know existed when I went to work for him, right? Because, man, nobody wants to pay you to fight the cops, and it's really hard to keep a job when you hate them all. So we wound up pretty fucking broke by the end of the game. And Korey was out there working in the clubs. He had gotten himself in a position where he could hire some people, and he put my whole family on. He put me, my cousin, my brother, my other cousin. He put us all on. And I remember that first Halloween that I went to go work for his ass. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm a union plumber, okay? And I hump pipe. I work my ass off. I ain't afraid of shit. Nothing kicked my ass like Halloween, working with him as a guard in West Hollywood. And the way that dude held it down and took care of his guards, I showed up for my first night, and I'm a decently big guy. I was the smallest guy in the room. And all these fucking giants are looking to Korey with respect, trust, love. And I'm thinking, man, look at this dude. Every time I turn around Korey's reinventing himself. Korey's building himself up. And you know what? He'll be the first person to tell you, man, he ain't perfect, right? But at least he ain't fake. And that dude knew bullshit when he smelled it. And as long as you were real, Korey loved you for who you were. It didn't matter where you came from, what you believed in, who you loved, how you loved him, whether you loved him or not. Unless you're a fucking cop. Because we don't party with pigs. And Korey took that stand. Korey took that stand. But I tell you what, as a testimony to his open-mindedness and his heart, I did work with him as a guard. And I did have to quit that job because I did tell him I can't bring water to these fucking sheriffs, homie. I just can't. But Korey could because he knew he had fucking bills to pay, because he knew he had a job to do, because he knew what kind of man he was, because he knew people were looking up to him and count on him to come into work every day. I was just a low guy. They were counting on Korey. So yeah, he didn't really like the cops, but I tell you what, he was willing to work with them if they were going to pay him some money. You know what I mean? I never saw him turn nobody over, but I did see him, kick him down with some water once in a while. It is what it is. But Korey took a stand to the day he died. He stood up for Mike. He never stopped believing in Mike, and every chance that he got to go stand up for somebody else because he thought it would make a difference for Mike, he did it. And he never stopped loving me as his brother. He never stopped loving Sonia as his sister, Owen and Aaliyah as his nephews, because he's my brother. And like I said, when I started, I didn't even know who the hell he was. And we became brothers in a week, because that's just the kind of guy he was, And I'm just up here talking right now because Deborah wanted me to get up and speak to make everybody comfortable so they can get up here and what kind of stories you can tell about Korey, okay? This is the real deal, right? Korey was a real one, and he needs to hear how much we loved him. He needs to hear how much he mattered in our lives, what an impact he had, okay? He lived 10 lifetimes in what he was given to be here with us, and he gave us everything he could. I don't think there's one person in this room who can say that Korey didn't give him something, even if it was a hard time, But he'd also let you give it right back. Korey was a good sport, and he loved a little bit of back and forth. So that's what I hope we hear tonight. I hope we hear some back and forth. Hope we hear the truth about our brother, because I know everyone's here because they love him, and everyone's here because they miss him, and they know that there's a huge emptiness in every single one of our hearts because he's gone. But what we learned 11 years ago, no one ever goes away just because they're not here with us right now, all right? And we walk in that spirit world together. Korey and I learned that together. Mikey walks with us everywhere he goes. And the first thing that happened when Korey crossed that rainbow bridge, which is where the warriors go, was his cousin waiting for him on the other side, telling him, I fucking saw you, homie. I saw what you did. That's right. And they saw what he did. And now he can rest. And we have to carry the weight of missing him. We have to take care of each other. We have to take care of his family. Because that's all Korey ever did for every single one of us. So thank you for being here. I hope somebody gets up right now. I see you. All right? Let's talk about Korey. Let's celebrate his life, and let's love our brother like he loved us. Because he did love every single one of us, and you know it. Thank you.